Hello, everyone. We're back with a special Thanksgiving episode.
That's right. We got Austin and Ethan here today.
What's up?
Woo! Woo! And then it just goes quiet. Like we've been talking for an hour.
Yeah, you should.
As soon as we press record, everybody just stops.
Well, Ethan said that Daniel goes back and forth on his positions all the time, so I want to get more into
That's
that.
a good place to start for sure.
Always.
Evidence?
Yeah.
No, I mean, you said that with a lot of confidence.
Just picking buttons.
Picking buttons. Or
Pushing buttons.
What does that mean?
He's pulling buttons off of shit.
Yeah, no, currently right now. Nobody can see, but that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
No, I really think you do. I've listened to all 30 whatever podcasts.
I go back and forth.
You're back and forth all the time.
Do you have
Isn't that a human... I mean, isn't that a human
I think
way
he is a
to
human.
deal with things? No, but I mean, like, isn't that... Don't we all kind of do that?
No, I definitely
That's
do.
what smart people do, is, like, flip-flop back and forth between...
Thanks, man.
Well, I mean...
Daniel's
I'm
just
trying
grinning
to
over here.
big you up a little bit here. But, no, I mean, I do. I think that's, like, the mark of a critically thinking person is to, like...
Sure.
Examine every avenue of the possible...
Sure. I mean, your view is going
what I'm saying.
to change over time.
Of course.
Day
to day.
I think the reason, when this started, when Ethan said what he said about me, we were talking about Caleb and how he goes back and forth.
So we're putting this on someone else.
He's not here to defend himself.
Yeah, do you see him?
That makes it
He's
way more
pushing
fun.
on Caleb right now.
No,
because
that's...
But no.
We'll trash
what I'm
Caleb
saying
till he gets here.
that's
I'm
fine. What I'm saying
100%
is,
comfortable with that.
is that of course it's okay to change your stance on something as time goes by. But
If you're not, I don't think you're a thinking human being, man. That's
absolutely,
like,
I agree.
That's what you're supposed to do. Is
Agree.
Gather new information and adjust your viewpoint.
I think we were
accordingly.
busting
wrong
Caleb's
or right.
balls
I think. Well,
last week,
Yeah.
because he was doing it in the same sentence.
so he's working it out.
Sure, maybe, but
I do that a lot when I have conversations with people. Like I start from a place of security, and then you just kind of talk, and you kind of figure out what you think about things.
Yeah,
as you discuss them. It's
like I said,
maybe that's
he's
not
not
a
here
good
to
way to
defend
do
himself,
things.
but
that doesn't matter.
But he's purple.
That's what St. Clair kept saying.
what does that
He's
even
like,
mean?
you're not blue or
No
red,
one cares
you're
what
purple.
St. Clair says.
Were y'all talking politics?
He's a faggot.
St. Clair? Absolutely.
For sure.
Fucking homeschooler.
Yep.
Fuck you.
Pussy.
Oh, he's gonna listen to this and be so mad
I
for
can't wait.
10 seconds.
Wearing his
The
fucking
best thing
sandals.
that's going to happen to me this holiday season is the text message that comes from him because of
Because
of this right here. Yeah, I'm talking to you, you fucking pussy.
Can we swear?
You can say whatever you want.
Okay.
No, yeah, but that's what you're supposed to do.
I think so too.
Getting
I mean, I
back to what we
definitely
were talking about. That's what you're
I
supposed
agree.
to do.
I mean, I think you should, if you come across something that's, I don't know, new evidence to something, you should change your mind. Obviously, like you should.
Well, you should
the way it should
even like sans coming across anything new, man. Like you should constantly go over the ideas that you hold as like objective truths,
Sure.
because you never know. Like human beings have blind spots,
Absolutely,
and it's different for every personality. Like I would hate to be the same person that I am right now for the rest of my life.
Right.
You know what I mean? That seems like a stagnant and super, just a lazy way of going about like personal development. Is
Sure.
to just
Got
get
it.
locked into like a specific way of viewing the world and a specific way to interact with every subject that you come into, and to just stay in that. I mean, it's like that's what we laugh about our elders about specifically. It's
Right,
like
because they
that.
get stuck.
They do. They get
Now-
hung up on specific views of things.
Do you
and
think
there it
there's
is.
like absolute truth though?
Yes, absolutely.
So then that should never change.
No.
If you find it, you
No.
should hold to that.
But all
forever,
that is
right?
pretty simple to me, at least. Like the absolute truths of the world are like pretty simply identified. It's like
Bullshit.
be a elaborate.
I mean, it's the same with what we were talking about earlier with objective morality.
Yeah, but we both agreed on that pretty quickly.
Yeah, no, but it's like, it's not hard. I mean, it is hard to find. It's not very easy to find absolute truths.
How smart do you think we are as two people if we both have come to an agreeable state on what that means? Because like, there's no reason that you and I are special above any other people that happen to consider these issues, but somehow we've come to the same conclusion. Like, maybe we're wrong, man. Maybe we are. I don't think we are. I think that the conversation we had specifically, which was like, as far as objective morality goes, is like, don't take things from people, whether it be their peace of mind or their consensual action, or whether it be property or their lives or whatever it is. Like, that's kind of where objective morality
And
starts.
that's an
It's like,
absolute truth.
I believe that it
so.
is. I do too.
But also, why I said it was bullshit is because I don't think it's that easy to find absolute truth, especially within.
Well, then what do you think it is about you, if it's not super easy, that made you come to that conclusion? Do you think you're like an exceptional force in the world where you were able to reach that conclusion, where a lot of people that you maybe disagree with, or just that exist, haven't come to that conclusion? What do you think it is that separates you from them?
Well, that proves my point that it's not easy to find absolute truth.
So you did something difficult.
It might not be absolute truth. That's my point exactly. Is I don't know if any human will ever find absolute truth.
I think that is absolute truth. So maybe I'm no. That's, so here we go. So here we go. Yeah, like maybe the same coals I was holding you over just then. I'm guilty of foregoing or whatever. But that is the question. I think that the point of that is like every person on this planet is capable of realizing that, and it's a relatively simple thing to come to understand if you pay attention to your own emotional responses to the way
Of course,
that you're
and
treated. And
I agree with you, and that's maybe one, but that's one absolute truth, right?
Right.
I don't know what you were specifically talking about when y'all were talking about absolute truth, but when you're talking about absolute truth, I was imagining the truth to everything.
I see what you mean.
And you will never find that. I mean, when you look at esoteric and exoteric knowledge and stuff like that, like we'll never be able to find that because it's hidden from us. I don't think any human in regular civilization and society will ever be able to find that.
I disagree with
it's
that.
hidden from us.
I would put the question to you then, like, what is it for the people that you believe have discovered that separates them from you?
I don't believe they discovered it. Well, they did discover it, but I don't think they discovered it on their own. I believe that it was already written down, and they found whatever it may be, and they just have that knowledge, and they've passed it down for thousands of years because they've always been in power.
Right, but there's nothing other than in that paradigm, there's nothing other than the secretive nature of protection of esoteric knowledge that gives those people that advantage. Like, there's nothing different about those people that are let in on truths about this universe that everyone may not be privy to. You're every bit as capable of understanding that stuff as those people.
Understanding, yes, but ever knowing...
Obtaining
it, never. I don't think we'll ever obtain what really... the depths that...
You don't want it. You don't want it enough.
Yeah, that's what it is. We need to just go bombard the elites and take all of
No,
I think you can find it.
You got to join them. You got to do the fucked up weird
I've
shit.
already
Study
said-
their behaviors.
I have already said on my phone 1,000,000 times, if they are listening, I will do the dirty work so that I can know the truth.
That's what Rogan said.
I'm the... I mean, that's what
Show
he's
me
doing right
aliens,
now.
I'll do whatever you want me to do.
He's been a fucking
That's
shill
where
ever
his
since.
that's where his Spotify deal came from.
Probably.
And I'll give you that.
But yeah, no, I don't think it's that we can't understand them. I don't think we'll ever obtain them.
I think they do a damn good job of keeping some of them from us, but it doesn't mean it's not there, and it doesn't mean without... I don't know. I think you could do enough digging to find some of them.
Shit, Mark Passy was going to put something on a hard drive, just send it right back to me.
Absolutely. And
I'm gonna put it on that
but
computer.
also, like,
Good.
as funny as that is, like, I can almost guarantee some of the stuff that's going to be on it, because it's stuff that I've been reading for the last year and a half, which is like a lot of Manly P. Hall's writings, Helena Blavatsky, like all these people that wrote about occult knowledge. And I mean, you go as far back as like Hermes Trismegistus and like Hermeticism and like Chemotism, all these like ancient schools of thought. Well, check the lectures out. Like that, it's there's all these ancient schools of thought as far as like moral philosophy goes, and the way that it all kind of comes back to the idea of karma. It's not necessarily laid out that way, but it's this idea of like the pattern that you exhibit in your life will reflect the way that it rolls over into the next whatever, you know. Now we're talking like, I hate to even go into stuff like this because you're going like so speculative at this point. There's really no sense in anyone hearing this that doesn't automatically agree with the things you're saying, because they're just going to go, well, they're talking about a bunch of crazy shit.
Who gives a fuck? No one listens. I want to hear it.
Yeah, no, I don't care. I mean, even still, no, I mean, that's just a way that I have, that's a way that I feel about talking about this stuff ever, even without, you know, including the listenership to what we're doing right now or whatever. It's just, it's one of those concepts that I think about constantly, but I don't believe that most people that I run into have any concept of, but it's
a hard conversation to start. Because
it's impossible. Well, no,
like,
it's impossible. But it comes down to like the footprint that you leave in this world, and like the net negative or positive that you've left here while you're here. And
so I have a question about that, because after listening to Passio and Natural Law and everything, like the morality of what he's talking about, like when he's talking about objective right and wrong, that's already what I thought. Like, I got it. I'm on board with that. Non-aggression principle. Like, even before I listened to that lecture, somebody that is a Christian that I know that was asking me, well, what do you believe now? And I was like, I think that's my highest belief is the non-aggression principle thing.
Absolutely.
I get all that. I don't know. I need a little bit more proof about this karma stuff, because I don't. It seems like I need to see where that's happening.
I don't really have anything to offer as far as proof of that. I think it really comes down to your own moral experience and the way that the world responds to your behaviors that you put out into your immediate circle of reality. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where, and it's gonna sound like superficial and super specific and like not necessarily applicable to like the world at large, but it's one of those things that I can personally attest to as having like a major influence on my life personally, is like take being a junkie, for instance, and like one of those, like, because that is like a specific moral standpoint you can choose in modern society, where it's like you're this person that will do whatever, whenever, to make sure that you arrive at the end results that you're looking for, which is cop in a sack, or, you know, whatever it is. Like, you're going to take whatever road you can take to wind up at the end of the day being where you want to be. And when you stop taking that path and start trying to like correct all that shit and start trying to live your life in a way that doesn't so negatively affect everyone around you constantly, you start to see positive feedback in your own life. You know what I mean? And that could just be as simple as like, yeah, what you put into the world you get back. It's not anything any more difficult than that. But like,
isn't that
people are more willing to,
like,
but
isn't that,
but that's my thing with it. And also, like, you have these experiences where, coming from being someone who was like a complete piece of total fucking garbage, like as far as the impact that I had on the people that I loved and the people around me, is like when you really start to put a large amount of mental focus on reversing that situation, there's something that happens where it's like, for me, it was an undeniable experience of like realistic progression in a different direction that seems completely attached to the conscious decision to change the way that you affect people. Okay. You know what I mean? Like 100%. And obviously, like 100% obviously, the people around you that you've affected so negatively for so long are going to respond more positively to you when you decide to make the effort that you can to stop injuring them in an emotional or physical or whatever it is way, you know,
just
whatever,
in a negative
whatever
way.
comes with that ugly way of living. The difference is there's a feeling that comes with that, and this is why this is so widely mocked, and it's why, like, what I'm saying is no objective proof of anything, because it's not anything that's like recordable by any type of mathematical data or, you know, whatever it is. Like, there's no empirical reason that I could pinpoint, but there's something that changes drastically. Like, unbelievably drastically that kind of starts to gear your decisions and kind of gear the direction you move in as far as your approach to the way that you should treat people and the way that you should behave in the world when it comes to interactions with other beings. And it's not proof. Like I said, I'm not sitting here trying to like empirically justify the way that I feel about it. But one thing that I haven't abandoned that I think that a lot of people have so far is my ability to appreciate my own personal experience independent of however much empirical scientific data will tell you that it doesn't matter. Like right now with COVID, you can look around all day and see that like not a lot of people in your life have been affected by the virus itself. All of the negativity has stemmed from the negative response by governments and by institutions and all of these mandates that have taken place. Like, but you know that it's there, you know, like as far as me, like I can't say that, you know, this change in my life has exhibited material example A, material example B. There's not something I can pull out of my pocket and show you, but on a spiritual level, there's a peace of mind and a piece of like understanding that, you know, you're making a better effort at least.
But that could be a lot of things. So if it's a law, if it's a natural law, it's got to work the same way across the board.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that may like be your experience, but it's kind of like the same when I'm talking to a Christian. They're like, listen, prayed for this, and then it just happened. And I get what they're saying, and that's their experience. And they were like, and I felt this, and I felt it was God, and all that. And like, not to discount anybody saying anything like that, but it's just that there's a lot of things that just happen. You know?
Of course, absolutely.
And so I can't really go by that person's feeling on it. And then, so like, but there's got to be examples out there of people, any government official, that breaks natural law every day and doesn't fucking, I mean, I don't know. You don't know all the ins and outs of their lives, but the Supreme Court justice just died, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Right.
Giant total piece of shit.
Of course.
She seems to have died fine, like without any, and so I'm trying to understand how I should believe in karma more than I believe in Christianity.
What is it that makes you think, and this is not an attack on you, obviously, but it's, what is it that makes you think that you understand what that Ruth Bader Ginsburg as like whatever humanity is, like as a manifestation of consciousness, whatever it is, because physically she died comfortable with a lot of money. I think all of us in here can agree that that's not the end of human existence. That's not the totality of human consciousness. And if it is, then maybe you and I just look at things differently. But I'm not convinced for a second that because she died at an old age with a lot of money and that means that story concluded positively for her. I don't believe that. I don't think things are as simple as that. And maybe I should have started with the caveat that like the things that I'm discussing, I have no hope of like empirically demonstrating while we're talking about this. If what I'm talking about is true, there's still no chance that I could like physically demonstrate it to you right here. But it makes, at some point you have to at least respect your instincts. Even if you don't trust them, you have to respect the fact that like, I believe I'm a fairly intelligent person, certainly not extraordinary, but like, I don't think I'm dumb. You know what I mean? And I think that humans have abandoned gut instinct, or at least like this inherent feeling that you get from certain paths of behavior and the way that you interact
be shaped
in the world
by the way that like anything, by the way you're brought up.
Absolutely.
Or whatever. Because it used to be like whenever I was heavily into Christianity and like, I didn't have a TV. All I was doing was reading Christian books, going to church, being around. If I heard someone say the word fuck, like I would have a physical, like, like I don't know,
Right.
recoil from
Right.
it or
No,
whatever.
you would physically, innately react
Yeah.
to a word because of your conditioning within that certain sect. And really, that's kind of my point, is like, because humans are so malleable as far as the way that they respond to stimuli and things like that, it's like, at the very least, we're on the same footing, as like there's an equal chance that that is correct. There's an equal chance that what I'm completely failing to articulate right now is
I get what
something
you're saying.
worth paying attention.
I mean, maybe I've listened to a lot of natural law stuff, and I don't know. I get what you're saying. I just don't know. I know that our feelings are very flawed. You know,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Like, because I feel shit all the time.
But I think that what you're talking about is feelings, and what I'm trying to articulate are maybe two different things, because I am probably it's funny, I'm like autistically against responding to emotion as a primary means of like evaluating information and acting on them. Like, I think it's the most foolish thing you can do in the world, and I don't think it serves any purpose in forwarding your own life or humanity as a whole or whatever, because you're right, it's inherently flawed. It's one of those things where like you're brought up under a specific like value structure, you're brought up under a specific way of viewing the world, and all those things. And
Reality doesn't care.
Absolutely, it doesn't.
So my question is, like, you guys don't think that people's actions like don't manifest into like reality, and then they
No,
have
of
to
course
they
they
have
do.
to pay the consequences for
I think even
Yes.
right,
right
say something.
or
Absolutely,
wrong
they do.
actions.
Yes.
So that's evidence right there. Like you do something, it turns into something in reality, and then you have to deal with it.
Absolutely.
Give me a second.
And that was
Give
that
me
was
one
a,
second.
that was a hold on, that was a pretty
Christ.
good that's a core tenet of what I was trying to get at, was like I've watched the destruction of my own existence
Right.
play
Now-
out in front of me.
now I do think that
directly
people-
related to my own choices,
Right.
and I could literally trace back specific occurrences to specific decisions that I made.
Sure.
And that's
Okay, so here's the thing too. I think that people get used to doing certain things, right? So you got people
Absolutely.
who've been in wars and they kill people and they do it so much that like it doesn't bother them.
I don't
but,
think that
but
it
it
doesn't.
doesn't not bother them.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
They can do it.
Right.
They can
See,
do it
but I
without
don't-
thinking. They can do it without
Right.
without anything because
Because
it's
it's-
something that you've done repetitively.
Exactly. It's the same
Now,
thing that has
they're
anything to do with
still-
human
their
biology.
psyche's fucked.
Exactly.
Because they can do it. That's
Right.
that's the repercussion. The
Right.
fact that you can do it without even batting an eye now.
Absolutely.
So that's the consequence.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
that plays
For that
into
action.
to Western civilization morals, though, because
What, murder?
yes, absolutely it does. Because
No,
in
that's-
different societies in different parts of the world, that's nothing. People do that. They grow up to 4 years old and then go fucking bomb a car and risk their lives and or take others' lives, and it doesn't affect them at all because they weren't born and raised
But see,
to
I
believe
think-
that
I
murder
think-
was a wrong
I
was a
think that
bad
it
thing.
does affect them though, because
Well, see,
they are
that
now
goes back
living
to
a
the
life
natural law. That
like
goes
what I
back
just
into-
said, where they're not. They can do these things without batting an eye. That's no fucking life to live.
Yeah, but if you're
That's-
raised
that's a
that,
fucked
that,
up
that
psyche
that's
right
never
there.
something that you should bat an eye about, then it's completely different for you. And well, that goes back to the objective morality thing. Of course, we could talk about that again. But when you said manifestation, I've been trying to talk about this for a while because he asked what I don't know where to go when it comes to Christianity and karma, right? And you brought up manifestation. Manifestation is absolutely a real thing. There was a declassified CIA document that just came out in the last 3 days about manifestation and how it's absolutely real, and that they've done studies on it. They've done it behind closed doors, and you can manifest your own reality.
Well, that's the thesis point of Passio's natural law lecture, is that like the law of one or whatever, the secret, whatever you want to call it, where like you attract the outcomes that you deserve based on the way that you behave. Yeah,
Yeah, and
I'm on board
and you
with
can
that
say
100%.
you can say it's karma or manifestation. Either way, it's absolutely a true thing.
I agree.
And with enough meditation and enough self-awareness, you can manifest your own destiny. Regardless of it's kind of like when you said Christians pray and this happened. They didn't sit on their ass and say, all right, my daughter has cancer, and we just prayed the cancer out of her. No. They went and fought it through their willpower and through her willpower, and it changed. Like, go ahead.
No, that's not necessarily what I meant. I mean, like...
Oh, I'm not saying you meant that.
No,
I just use that as an example because a lot of Christians say, well, I prayed this and it happened, but they didn't do that, and then they sat on their ass on the couch for 100 days, and then whatever they prayed for happened.
But some of them did, like, because it's not stuff that they could do anything about. It's like, I was just praying for this.
Like what?
I was feeling... I mean, I've heard this 1,000 times.
Me too, and
like,
that's why I'm trying to...
Yeah, like, I
curious.
I was really struggling with... whatever. I was really struggling with the way that I was behaving towards my mom or whatever, and then I went to church, and he preached on exactly that, and I know that was...
Okay, so I agree that has absolutely happened to me. I've
Sure.
sat with... But I believe that's some sort of manifestation, and when you're connected, whether it be to the universe or to your God, spiritually, you are, I believe, praying as some sort of meditation. I mean, it's a form of meditation where you're sitting there to yourself, and you are talking to something better than you, something higher than you. And when you
It's
are...
the highest ideal, if it's nothing else.
Exactly, and you're asking for that to happen. And then it manifests.
But you don't think people do that on a regular basis and it doesn't manifest?
Well,
I mean, look at the disease thing we just...
Well, so this is what
Absolutely.
I was describing, is that no one that sits there and tries to manifest any idea says, I want a red Lamborghini, and then it just fucking happens. Those people that are truly meditating or praying for this sort of reality in their future are also working towards it.
Well, yeah, no, I completely agree with that.
And-
Because then you get, like, you change the way your mind works. You're
Absolutely,
completely fucking
exactly.
focused on it. If you're saying that, then I...
Well, and that's a
But
true
that's
Christian.
changing
but,
you.
But I'm saying that's what a true Christian is. It's someone that's changing the way that they live their lives and doing things towards Christ. But you could say the same thing about the guy that doesn't believe in God, that believes in himself or spirituality, that is talking to something higher than himself and trying to manifest it. It's this. I think the same thing's happening. Is
Sure.
that
I
and
agree with
they're
that.
they're living their life, whether it's towards Christ or towards that goal.
It's your brain.
It's your brain working, and like I said, there literally was just a declassified CIA document all about this, about meditation to a certain extent where you can absolutely manifest, and there's proof on this document that you can manifest what you want. Now, quote, air quotes, but
I just don't trust anything they release. I agree with the sentiment that you're pushing, but
well,
I
I
don't
mean,
trust
it's the
anything
Freedom
they
of
release.
Information Act, and I don't think that they have a choice. I mean, we can talk about what they do and don't release and all of that, but manifestation has and always will be an actual thing.
I agree with it in the way that you're saying it. I guess the thing that I'm questioning is, like, okay, let's say you have somebody that would be considered a sociopath.
Right.
They can murder without having any kind of effect on them, any kind of seeming effect, and maybe they get away with it. So is it really a law if it doesn't apply across the board?
Well, what are you asking there? A natural law?
hold on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there, we're assuming that those precepts of natural law only exist within the confines of this 70, 75 year, 80 year experience that we're talking about as Jason Savage, as myself, as, himself,
Steve.
whatever. Maybe that's not even close to the entirety of it.
It may not be, but I don't know.
So what was your question there?
Like, I mean,
When it comes to karma and...
Hold on.
I have to go with just that because I don't know about, like,
Agreed.
if there's any kind of an afterlife.
I agree with you. And that's
yeah.
and this is where we get into faith. Is like, what makes sense to you based on your view of the way that these things work and your own personal experience. And it's, I said it already, but like there's no way for any of us to definitively prove that what we think about this particular issue is the proper way to view it. There's just not. There's no there's no way for any of us to go, well, here is why what we're saying is true or untrue. It kind of comes down to interpretation of your life experiences and the things that you read.
Yeah,
and
I disagree,
that you choose to believe and not believe, and but it is.
I think you can see based on people, like people do things, and then there are
Yes.
consequences for those
Exactly.
actions.
I believe.
Where do
what you're
those
saying is right.
consequences come from? If it's not something that governs us,
I agree with you, and I typically
Now-
stand on the side that you're
right now there
I
is another
agree
side of
with
the
you
coin, and the other side of the
100%.
coin is that some people seem to get away with shit.
right. But again, that
But they get away with it, and maybe they get away with it because man didn't catch them, right?
That or-
but their psyche could be fucked,
Exactly.
or
there
the way
could
that
be
or the way that you're judged is stretched out over a much longer time period,
Which
than
goes back to the
one
cause and effect,
personal identity exists, and that possibly,
it could be
according to physics now, and
Energy
this
never
this
fucking
may
ends,
seem
right?
like a basic argument or whatever, but just according to physics, and a lot of physicists now believe that humanity is energy and not matter. That's like
right. And so if it's energy, it never
does,
stops.
which means that whatever this is just
Goes into something
continues
else.
to
Something else
spread
happens,
across the cosmos over and over again indefinitely or whatever. And it's like on the historical timeline, 70, 80 years, however long humanity lives now these days, and these people that seem to get away with
Right.
egregious acts against
Sure.
natural law and against humanity.
Their
and all these
energy
things,
is not going to get away with it for forever.
maybe I don't believe that it is.
I don't think so
That's
either.
my personal.
Because
but again, what you and I are talking about is faith, because there's no
fuck. I hate faith.
Well, but
You're going to hell, Daniel.
But listen, learn to make your peace with it, because at the end of the day,
then now I'm going to pull Jason's side of this and just be like, I'll just be a Christian.
Yeah,
then. If
be
I got
really comfortable.
if I have to have faith completely, and there's nothing, no logic, there's no
there,
evidence
there's,
to back up
well,
what I'm,
this is the
what
problem.
I'm fucking
as far
believing,
as
then I don't want to
Christianity
believe it.
Well, this is the problem. As far as Christianity goes, there's too much empirical evidence to support the fact that the underlying ethos and the stories that frame the ideology of Christianity exists long before the institution itself. These ideas, these base archetypal stories exist long before Judaic Christianity arose around Christ. So
Yeah.
then we ask ourselves the question, why do these stories, why do these archetypes, why do these specific classifications of morality and of individuality and of human beings exist throughout cultures
And they-
over and over and
Yeah,
over again,
and they never
that
end.
had zero contact with each other? And that's where it gets interesting to me. That's
not faith, that's evidence.
That's the stuff that excites me. But here we go now. It's like, here's the faith. It's like, do you trust that interpretation?
Well,
that
Yeah,
pops
because
up
it may not be
over
that.
and over and
It
over
could
again.
be. It could be that's just the way that humans' minds are wired
Right.
to look at that.
Right.
And, I mean that doesn't give me anything that there's anything past this.
Right. Not objectively.
Yeah.
But at least give me that the fact that these ideas, the fact that these archetypes, the fact that these responses to the human experience have persisted throughout humanity over thousands and thousands of years, at least lends them a tiny bit more credence than just complete ambivalence to the universe. Like that.
Yeah,
The fact that humanity has worked it out that far and seemingly on a large scale agreed on certain precepts over and over and over again throughout thousands of years, it's like maybe at least the base core tenets of all of these different
the esoteric version of all of this.
That's where
The
you
absolute
take some
truth
truth from
is the truth.
and then
I
you
can
just
get
try
behind
to
that.
figure it out from there and do the best you can to.
The absolute truth that was scattered amongst all religions that we know of.
Well, sure. Men that want to control other people can easily take the esoteric truth that's at the core of most of these religions or whatever, right? And then they can build things around it that allow them to control the masses.
Absolutely.
And allow them to fight each other.
I'm sure that's what's been done. I don't know for
I don't
sure.
think it's. I don't
but
really
seems
think that's
like-
arguable.
Yeah, that's not even
you just
disputable.
Look at human history. That's
So-
kind of what's going on.
Yeah, I don't fuck.
I was just kind of wondering, you said earlier about you don't know what to pick between karma and Christianity. Why can't they coincide?
No, that's not what I didn't mean that. If I said that, I meant
Maybe I was wrong.
what I don't believe Christianity anymore because I don't think there's evidence for it. I think there's evidence against it. Too.
Like
but
what?
Evidence against
Yes,
Christianity.
yes.
I know. I'm not talking
you
about.
mean that in
Yeah,
its
I mean
sense
like
of like
the
what the church
church-
is.
As it being
Yeah.
an objective historical truth that you should believe are objective,
Yes.
real things that happen and that could be that could be recorded historically the same way that
Yeah,
like World War I or World War II could. I know exactly what you mean, and that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, like the kind of Christianity that we've all grown up in is everything in the Bible is true front to back.
Right.
This all really happened and all that.
Every
and there's
word.
Which is
That's
asinine.
the
It's
craziest
asinine.
fucking thing.
I want
that
to hear
can-
him
Absolutely.
continue to
It's
talk
Sorry,
real quick.
sorry. Go ahead.
Everyone's talking.
It's fucking
Jason.
crazy.
I just want to hear him talk. Fuck you, Daniel Sinclair. This is Ethan, by the way. Fuck you.
Seconded.
So, like, I mean, there's just stuff, like, if you look at the Noah story, there's no way it happened that way. There is no way that it could possibly happen. Okay.
Well, there was a huge flood that was recorded
Not-
in all of history and
Okay.
all kinds of different cultures.
I
Yeah.
agree with you.
There
on
was a
that.
huge flood. They have found evidence of a huge boat. Now, was it Noah's Ark? Meh, we don't know. But
But that's
Where's
fine.
the
I'm not,
evidence
I'm
of
not
the huge boat?
debating a flood or a boat.
well,
You mean like the
I
way
mean-
the story
I
went?
mean-
of course, the way the story.
Bibles
But
two
also-
by two,
yeah,
bullshit.
yeah.
Of course, maybe. And I have never went to a sermon where they said, no, it was definitely two animals, and if you don't believe this, you're going to hell.
Every sermon I've went
You had
to said
shitty-
exactly
you had
that.
shitty
Yes.
preachers.
Absolutely.
Yes, I'm
every
with Jason on
every
that.
single sermon I've ever
Yeah.
seen
Genuinely.
about that event was exactly that. It is
Give me 1 second.
biographically, historically true, line for line. and
Nothing.
There's no dispute.
Never have I ever heard that. And also, they just happen to be shitty preachers. Because every person that I've ever heard give a sermon has said, "No, we can take these stories absolutely happen, but they're also stories for a certain way to live and this and that." Right? I've never heard them say this is absolutely a fact that they
No,
brought
dude.
two lions, two giraffes,
Every
two
church
zebras.
I've ever been
That's-
to, every word
You live in the Bible
is
Belt.
100%.
No,
the
it's
truth.
Protestantism
No,
at
there
its
is
heart.
no-
Absolutely.
Like,
it is.
because they-
It is
But continue
Protestantism
with what
and
you were
not
saying.
that-
I've
that
never
part,
heard
that
any
Yeah.
preacher say it was absolutely two of each
You
animal.
just have, though. You have heard preachers say
absolutely
that.
haven't.
There's no chance that you've gone to church on multiple occasions.
I
that
did go to the
specifically
churches you guys
addressed-
went to.
Listen, that specifically addressed the story that we're talking about. That didn't say that because they all do. in this
I
region.
guarantee right
They
now, if
all
we went
do.
to church and they preached that sermon, they would. None of them would say it was. That's absolutely how it went.
You're wrong.
And if they
You're
did,
just
that's
wrong.
that is
I've
why.
seen
hold on,
4 or 5
can you
different
let anyone
preachers
else
in
talk
this
other than
area.
for 5 seconds? That is, I mean, genuinely. I'm not even fucking joking. Just let somebody else talk for a second. That's exact problem with the church, and maybe that's where you were getting at. But that's the exact problem with the church. I think they mean well, but also that's exactly why I don't go to church, because that is what I see flawed when I go to church and they push this exact this and that. It's like,
It's crazy.
Well,
it is. It's crazy because, like you said, it's a 100% everything in the Bible is absolutely the truth. But I just haven't specifically seen that at every church I've been to. Yes, two of the churches, which both of you, which everyone in this room have been to at some point, they were that way. But I've been to churches that weren't that way, and those were the churches that I enjoyed. And you know what happened? The old people in the churches got rid of those preachers because they were bad people.
That's right, because they weren't preaching the word.
They weren't preaching
properly.
the real word. And I get where you're coming from, but I don't think that makes the Bible any less valuable.
I don't think it's less about. I think there's
Sure.
a lot of valuable stuff in it. I just, when I walked away from Christianity, it was because, like, literally everyone that I know that's not in this room, St. Clair or my friend Josh, believes exactly that. And they do think that if you don't think it all literally happened, that you are going to hell. Because that's, and honestly, it's because that book, if you read it, says that. But now, not all
true.
of it says that. But
No, that's not true. The New Testament says that. Right?
well, yeah, but that's Christianity. The Old Testament's just Judaism.
Right, but this is where we can get into a good conversation, because I think that in and of itself is bullshit.
What
Now,
do
am
you-
I saying is Christianity bullshit? No, I don't believe that all the way. But so I have a buddy that lives in Israel, right? He's full Jew now, full Jew. I FaceTime him and I'll be like, "Where's your AK at?" Because I just fuck with him. I'm like, "Oh, why is your AK on your back? Are you shooting up? Are you killing civilians just in the street?" Right? I just fuck with him. But no, he FaceTime me all the time. And it'll be like 7 o'clock over there and fucking 6 in the morning here. But I asked, he tries to convert me to Judaism all the time. And there are some great points that he makes, but also it's like, who's right, who's wrong? Are either of us right, or either of us wrong? But if you look at it just logically, there was a whole Bible before the New Testament. And then Jesus came along and he said, yeah, all that stuff is bullshit.
Okay.
He
So-
did not say that. He did. He said, "I came to fulfill the law, not abolish
Right,
it."
right. But what Christians believe is, well, all that stuff's bullshit because Jesus came along. That's basically what everyone believes. And
Do you know that?
goes to Baptist
Do you know
Church.
that the Muslims say that Muhammad came along and gave another religion?
Exactly.
And therefore,
So-
all the other two were bullshit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like Jesus and Muhammad have a lot of similarities when you look at religion and the way that they control. I'm not saying
didn't have
them.
an
I'm not
8-year-old
saying
wife.
them. I'm saying the way that it controlled how people believed afterwards, right? But there was a whole book before Christ came along, and after he died for our sins, it was like, oh, all that stuff, don't believe any of it. None of it is valid, and that's what's taught now. Now, I can get along with you when you say that's kind of when you walk away from the church, or that's at least when I kind of was like, that's when I question the church at least, because it's like, and I just started doing this. And it goes right back to the Daniel flip-flopping, Caleb flip-flopping. I do it all the fucking time. I was just giving you shit. But it's because it is hard to find absolute truth.
Sure.
Because there are so many things out there. And the whole thing of just disregard all of the stuff that was God's text supposedly before Christ.
But see, I don't
But they're
think
not
Christians
saying
do that. I think they look at the Old Testament as a representation of what Christ became in the New Testament. Everything points to Christ in the Old Testament.
But give me-
it's like parables. It's like
Yeah.
the stories play out the role of what Christ was in the New
Yeah,
Testament.
like, so
And I
all
think
those
most
are-
Christians would say that, or
All
at
right,
least the churches we went
this
to.
is just as this from what
Well,
I
just
know.
as a perfect reference for that point is like Jordan Peterson did a lecture on the psychological significance of the biblical stories, and in all of his lectures about Old Testament books, that was his point, was like all of this is setting up this redemption story of Jesus Christ,
Right,
that
which
is
is-
that is a parable, that is a beautiful parable about how humanity can bring itself up from the dredges of its origins and attain a higher or more evolved or whatever it is state of being.
Which is what the churches we went to
Hold on.
believe, like basically.
Right.
Well, except for the last
I
one.
disagree. I disagree.
until they got completely out of hand.
But fuck me, you were on a point of why you left the church. I want to hear what that is.
Well, do you
No.
not know that story?
I don't know.
I went to church after.
Why'd you give up church though?
Yeah, but even
You got
still,
there,
that,
and I
that
kind
had
of
to be the beginning.
went on a
It's
tangent.
it's Orthodox Christianity that I really gave up because I think that Bible and the way that they believe it. To me, the main thing that Orthodox Christianity believes is that everything in that Bible is true from front to back. and then you have
Historically,
the gospel. Yes.
objectively, physically, historically true.
Yeah, and they think that, and there's no good evidence for that. Like even the way that the New Testament is arranged is not. Fuck you! You're not listening. Fuck you.
I'm trying to get him to give me a Zentab. Yeah. Continue.
Can I borrow his
So
Zen?
that.
I'll
Like
give it back.
even the way that the books are arranged in the New Testament, the Gospels didn't come first. They weren't written first. The the epistles that Paul wrote were the original texts, and then they, came. But we have no evidence that those were really even written by the people that said they wrote them.
Correct.
And a lot of them, there's evidence to the contrary of that. And so
And they were written 40 years after?
Yeah, no, at least
At least
a lot of major books of the Bible were written a couple hundred years after
The supposed things.
the
they were writing
existence
about.
of Christ. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
it was just that stuff, and then certain things like you have to excuse specifically in the Old Testament, like if God, the way they're portraying him, is a holy and moral person that has stamped us with his sense of justice, like Romans says,
Absolutely.
then like I think it's Exodus 23 or 27, one of the two, talks about like what the Israelites should do, how they should treat their slaves. And it basically says you can beat your slave, and as long as the slave does not die within 2 days, it's fine.
Yep.
If they die the third day, that's
Something I
fine.
can get behind. No, I'm just kidding.
If they die on the third day, it's just
A little
your
levity,
loss.
folks.
It's called a fucking joke.
Yeah, no, I'm in 100%. Beat them.
And then
No, but that's
but yeah,
no, you're 100% correct. And
That didn't come from God.
no, the
No,
whole, and the
absolutely
whole
not.
Christianity thing.
I agree with that.
Like that, I mean, that's a verse in the Bible. God's the same yesterday, today, and forever. So his morality, he may have related his people differently, but his morality has to be the same throughout all.
correct, according to their own teachings.
So, and then you go to somewhere like Ephesians 5, and it talks about how marriage is like Christ in the church. It's permanent. You don't ever get divorced except, whatever, and you die to yourself or whatever. In that same passage, it talks about if you have a slave, that they can go free, right? But if you give them a wife and they have children, the slave, the guy can go free.
But you get to keep
the
his wife and
the
kids.
kids have to stay.
Yeah.
And so, like, it just
Contradiction
does not
in the
seem
same book.
Yeah.
consistent.
Do you guys
This is-
remember
this is Old or New
struggling with
Testament?
that when we all
That's
went to church?
New Testament
like the
and Old
contradictions
Testament.
in the Bible. I feel like we talk about that quite frequently.
So, well, that's what I wanted
The
to get
preacher
to.
also did too. Was like just, and the explanation is like, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
It just kind of, it seems contradictory, but really it's not.
Because it can't be.
His ways are higher than ours.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's inadequate. There's no excuse for that being your answer if you're attempting to really truly break down a proper way of living to people in this world. That doesn't cut it.
No.
And that's, I agree with you wholeheartedly with that. It's like that's a problem. Like that is a glaring problem with Orthodox Christianity that cannot honestly be reconciled amongst critical thinking people. It just can't be. There's no reconciliation there because it doesn't make any sense.
Well, and that was my thought, like, because I hope that I'm going to teach my kid to question everything, to be a critical thinker, to put logic and reason above any emotions. And I can't tell him, do that everywhere, but this book, you can't.
Absolutely.
Like, he'll have no respect for you.
Well,
Like,
I'm an
and-
idiot, but I think that's the right approach with that. Is like that. This is the thing, man. Is especially if that book is objective truth, then it's not above scrutiny.
No,
It
exactly.
will prove itself,
Yeah.
even in the midst of
Yeah, you should be able to question it
logical
and hold
scrutiny.
up. Yeah.
But it doesn't.
You said one's New Testament, one's Old Testament. Which one was Old Testament?
The Old Testament was
example.
the slaves and the marriage guy can leave.
This is
The one
going to
that can't.
sound
The New
hack.
Testament is the whole
The
love
Gospels.
and, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, this is going to sound hack, but it is true. And Orthodox Christianity would have you believe that you should take each testament as equal, bread to your being. But it's like in the Old Testament, it's like if a woman is on her period, drive her out of the city
It says to put her on the corner of the
and
roof.
make her stay there until it's over.
I think that's a good one.
Listen,
I
if
think we should go back and do that.
I'm not disputing the social validity of that standpoint because
Let's
I
all
think
become
it's
Jews.
indisputable.
All we
I
gotta do is
think
become
it's
Jews.
indisputable.
They obviously
But yeah, clearly,
recognize something.
yes,
They-
absolutely.
they got
If
that
God
one
was-
right.
If God was ever right, here he was. But no, but that's it. It's like if you're going to reconcile that, then there needs to be a better explanation than that, and there just isn't. It's like, well, yeah, it's historical, and that is what it is.
So-
but it's not now, and it's like, but at the same time, you should hold these precepts literally as truth. It doesn't. There's no
make-
logical
well,
consistency.
And it also doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to, as a Christian, say, man, Hitler was terrible, right? And the whole genocide and all that because he thought he was a master race and he was
You're
the
getting me
chosen
fired
one.
up.
And then I'm going to, in the same breath, look back at the Old Testament and be like, oh, it was cool when the Jews were doing it.
Yeah.
The Jews
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
Old
yeah.
Testament believed the literal same thing as the Nazis.
Yep.
Absolutely.
It's just a
They
different
were
chosen people.
the
They do-
chosen
well,
ones. And
Here-
Let me give
here's
you-
where,
let me
here's
give you
where we
something
here's where we
interesting.
get
Anybody?
into editing this episode.
Anybody?
They still believe that.
Probably.
No,
Sure. Yeah.
Not probably.
Well, I mean,
They do,
They
and let me
still
bring this
believe
point
it.
up. Let me bring this point up. So my buddy that lives in Israel, he's been there for 9. Well, what is it? What month is this? November. He's been there since March. Left right before my birthday, like March 3rd, I think. And every time we talk, he's. Before I get on this tangent about how bad Jews are, which is absolutely non-disputable.
Now we're getting somewhere,
It's
baby.
absolutely not disputable.
It won't get taken down. Nobody listens.
You look at the most evil people on earth, they're Jews, and I ask him this, but before I do that, back to the contradictions.
I don't agree with that assessment.
Yeah.
You are gonna? You better. Austin Scott agrees.
You know I'm in.
No.
But I don't. I don't support that in any way.
The whole contradiction thing, this is something that we talk about a lot, and he says, yeah, it's because Jesus was a false Messiah. If there is a hell, he'll be right in it, right? And regardless of if he's right or Christians are right, it is absolutely evident that there is a huge contradiction between the two books, and that alone is where it comes down to me flip-flopping every 5 seconds because I talk to my Jew friend and I'm like, oh shit,
that's a reasonable way to flip-flop.
and I'm like,
I agree with you.
Well, fuck, I was born in the Bible Belt and I was raised Christian and all this stuff, and then you look at the Old Testament and I talk to a guy that's now a Reformed Jew and all this stuff, and there is a huge contradiction. Why is that? There is either
because
one of the two
it's
things.
social manipulation.
Either it's social manipulation or he's right and or Christians are right. And that's where I kind
The
of break down
likelihood of either of
They're
those
both
being
wrong.
the reality is slim to none.
And what's crazy about it is if you go into the New Testament far enough, you'll find that some of the Jews are just in heaven. 144,000 of them. They
Agreed.
Yeah, well, isn't that in Revelation?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
It is. And well, here's the thing: is back to the Jews being bad. So I told him, and
Don't endorse
Jews,
any
no,
of this.
anyone
for the
listening
record.
to this, and will agree that the most evil people that actually know what's going on in the world will say, yeah, the most evil people on earth are Jews. And I ask him this, and I tell him this, and he says that the people in Israel, he stays like in the ancient city, right? He's in like some dormitory, basically.
Jerusalem.
And all they do is study the books, and he says, and I ask him, all right, well, why are the most evil people on earth Jews? And he says, because we are the chosen people, and when they fall farthest from God, they are still the most powerful people, even on the evil side. Like he says that the Jews are the most powerful people, and when they fall, they're the most powerful evil people. And they are all on that same consensus, is that when a Jew falls from God, they are the most impactful evil person they could be.
So let me ask you this.
So I don't think let me just go ahead and save my ass, because this will be on the internet for the rest of its life.
You better go ahead.
I'm
and specify.
talking to a guy
You're right. You're
in
correct.
Israel
Go ahead.
that studies this stuff, and they're all on board that the people that fall farthest from God that are Jews are the most evil people on earth. And he says, and that's his defense for it, at least. Because I always bring it up to him, like, why should I believe in anything Jews believe when they fucking own everything on this earth and do everything to tear humanity down?
Sure, but I don't.
I
think
don't
those
believe
people,
that's the paradigm.
I don't think. I don't know. I think there are Jewish people, and there are people that rule. They're part of the ruling class, and they claim to be Jewish, and they're not really.
They're Israelis.
Bullshit.
They claim no religion. They're Israelis. It's about the apartheid state. It has nothing to do with religion. We don't hate
Exactly.
Jews. We love Jews.
Exactly.
And everything that they have
That's right.
to do in society. We don't care about the fact that they control the money or anything other than that. And
Well,
it's all fine.
I don't like that.
No, I'm
But
fucking,
either way,
I'm fucking around.
I'm making the argument
I'm fucking
that
around. I'm amused
a guy
myself.
that's
Nobody else
literally
laughed.
turned Jew and is in Israel and studies all that, they also agree.
None of that matters. I legitimately think none of that matters.
see what you're
think,
saying.
I think
So let me say something real quick. I think it does matter, because it's absolutely apparent.
Yeah, of course it does.
What I think it's absolutely apparent that
Of course.
they at somehow have more power. That what are the numbers? I think it's 3 million people are Jewish in the entire world.
2% of the American population.
But I'm talking. I think it's world population.
It doesn't matter. 2%
I think
of the American
3.2
population.
million
control
for like
over
3.2
80%
million
of the
people,
finance.
which means they have some type of power that's bigger than the rest. unless they just
Are we ready to go down
got
this
into it
rabbit
really
hole? Is everybody ready to get
We
uncomfortable
should,
for a
because
minute?
I've been talking.
I'll respond to everything you just said.
I have
but I
been
don't wanna
wanting
do
to
it
have
if
this
everybody's
conversation because
uncomfortable.
I've been talking about this with him, and he's like, "No, everyone in Israel is on agreement with
Before
this."
you go down the rabbit hole,
I'm fine. All I've done is criticize the Bible.
Me too.
I'm very
Me too.
politically correct right
Me
now.
too.
I don't know what the hell you
Fuck
guys are
political
talking about.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm
we
just
can go
saying
down
what
it.
the Jews
I'm
said.
That's fine.
anti-Bible. I love Jews. I don't care what any. I don't care. Go Jews.
Back to, you said that he's claiming that Jesus was a false prophet,
Right.
and that if there is a hell, he'll end up in it. But if we go back to what Austin was saying earlier about how the archetype is much older than Christianity, the archetype is Christ.
Correct.
No.
No, it is.
It is.
It is.
And so therefore,
What do you mean by that?
Go look at the Egyptian myths.
It's Christ.
Yep.
It's the same story.
Osiris is Christ.
Right.
It's
And-
the same story.
And so I think he's wrong on that, which makes me go, okay, there is esoteric and exoteric Christianity.
Right.
And I think that Christ is that esoteric
Absolutely.
Christianity.
Being
and it
Christ-like is a positive.
is a great thing.
I don't think there's any. I don't
It's a
think
great
there's any
thing.
disputing. And I mean,
It's the truth.
because
It's some of
know,
that
the nature of
possible
us. You
absolute
can reference
truth.
Mark Passio. Christ consciousness is what you strive for.
To have my
Which
buddy
is-
on this podcast.
Here's your buddy.
Love the people around you.
Oh,
Don't condemn them
Mm-hmm.
for their shortcomings. Love them.
It's
And-
the turn the other cheek. It's the non-aggression principle, right?
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
it's
It's Christ consciousness.
right, and I think that those things are the truth. The problem I have is that in the world of the church and Christianity, if I say I'm a Christian but only believe those things, I'm not a Christian to the church.
Yeah, no,
I'm going to hell to the church.
You're a blasphemer.
Exactly. And so that's where it gets weird. But the Bible also says that whoever adds or takes away from this book will be punished. I don't know the exact.
And should be, but do you not think that they have? added
That's
and
my
taken
thing.
away?
It does
And-
not. It does not
Yeah.
say that it hasn't been added or taken away from. So if we take that and we go, okay, people have added to it or they've taken things from it, then there is absolute truth inside of it, and maybe God does preserve that. But it doesn't mean that there's a bunch of shit. There could be a bunch of shit around it that men have added to or taken away from, and it's been hidden, right? We know there's occulted knowledge, right? So they've taken certain pieces of it. They don't want you to know. They've hidden it, right? They've added things to it to make it confusing
Undoubtedly.
and all sorts of crazy shit so they can
Undoubtedly.
control people.
Look at the verse in Romans where it talks about obey the law. Of
exactly.
The land.
Romans 13
Obey
is
the law of the
fucking
land. Pay your taxes.
garbage.
That was
It's
written,
fucking
that was
taxes.
written by the Catholic Church.
Yeah,
Pay your
has to
taxes.
be.
No.
Has to be.
Why?
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. That's
It's
in the Bible.
I mean, Romans 13 says
Agreed. That's
Yeah,
a
it's
problem.
Like, it's like, are you serious?
That
Where
God-
are
yeah,
taxes where they're way back when?
clearly state
I have a
propaganda.
question because you said this. So you said it was written by the Catholic Church. Do you think all of Romans was? Do you think that was inserted into that? Or
getting drink?
No. I think that there's a way that you could take source documents and all you have to add is a phrase or two. But because those source documents exist within the doctrine of the most prevalent major religion at the time, why would anyone question them? Why would they?
yeah, I mean, I don't think that's one of the things I was saying earlier. I don't see any way to prove the integrity of these books. And then
I agree 100%.
and so that, yeah, I just didn't know if you specifically knew something about it.
Well,
that
it's
was
the
like
Council of Nicaea.
Well, yeah, I
Like,
didn't
they got together, and it's undocumented what they added, but it's documented that they added things. They got together, they picked and choose which gospels, which books, which ideas, which writings made it into the official copy
Sure.
of this religion's text. And it's funny that they were very careful to include the fact that you should obey the law of the land. You should pay your taxes. You shouldn't ask any questions.
And
You should
whoever's
what-
in power was appointed by God. Therefore,
exactly.
you have
and
to
that's
obey.
that's another thing that's funny about early Christianity is like You had Gnosticism from Christ's life until a couple hundred years afterwards that spun things a totally different way than modern Christianity does, which was like we have this omnipotent God, but the difference between Christian doctrine and Gnostic doctrine is that this omnipotent God was forgetful, it was limited, and that it was miserable, and that the idea of a Gnostic Christian God was this personality, this entity, whatever you want to call it, had manipulated human being to the point where it carried out its precepts. And that's not, there's no proving one way or the other that objectively this was the law of the land at that time, and this was the provable or unprovable or righteous word of God or whatever. But it's another way of viewing things, and it's funny that Gnosticism has been completely written out of the historical record,
Except
until you start to dig a little.
And hold on, I'm going to tie this in since this is our 33rd episode.
Please do.
That big old G at the Masonic lodges
That
stands
compass.
for Gnosticism.
It does. They're into all that. Well,
It's not dead.
Well, that's where I was
just being practiced in private.
That's where I was going, is that Gnosticism is alive and well
Absolutely.
amongst these mystery institutions, these institutions like the Masons or the Rosicrucians or what have you,
Which are all tied together.
that wholeheartedly subscribe to the view that the God of the Bible is not an all-loving, all-seeing God, but in fact a confused and furious God that attempts to punish the people of the earth for forsaking it based on the precepts that are written out in its original works, which are the Old Testament, which are the Gnostic Christian texts, and all these things that...
I mean, the whole
Their
Garden of Eden, right?
Well,
where it was,
their entire point of reference is the fact that anything other than strict obedience is heresy, and that it should be punished accordingly. That's kind of the way Gnostic texts work. The problem is that Gnostic texts admit that the God that they worship is a confused and angry God that has forgotten the origin story that was set out for humanity, and that it is a jealous,
Yeah.
and all deserving God of everybody's attention. You know what I mean? That's Gnosticism, is that God is an entity, and it's interesting about Gnosticism because it's not the only entity out there that operates under the same power mechanisms that any other God does. That the thing about Gnosticism is it acknowledges that there are other entities or beings,
right. Well,
that are on equal footing with the Gnostic God that Gnostic Christianity worships. It's
right.
And it's an angry, vengeful, forgetful God that has created humanity and has somehow forgotten the precepts upon which that happened, and that now it's a jealous, hateful, vengeful God that wreaks its not attention, but like it wreaks its revenge upon the people that don't hold up to its precepts.
Yeah.
What if
And
that's esoteric?
that's
I'd
kind of
also
not
heard,
what it is.
like, I don't-
Gnostic Christianity.
what if that's
is
I don't know a
esoteric?
whole lot about Gnosticism, but I'd heard things about how, so the Garden of Eden, right? There was the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and God didn't want them to eat from that, right? They didn't
Right.
want them to know
right.
those things. And so the Gnostics, from what I mean, this is a very simple way of looking at it.
You've got it though. I know where you're going. You've got it.
So when Satan came in and was like, no, eat it. You'll know everything. He just doesn't want you to know. They're flipping it, right? They're looking at it in a different light of no, Satan was the good guy here.
Right.
Who was trying to give man knowledge.
Right.
And God was the one who was trying to keep them from ever having it.
Right.
And I don't know. It's fucking weird.
Esoteric.
It's weird.
The truth.
No, listen, that's
But I mean, I don't think the Masons are good. I think they
I don't think
subscribe
we
to
should-
that.
Go look at their top ranking members. They're all perpetrators of horrible fucking.
They're all fucking Jews.
That's not what I said. We can go look at George W. Bush as an example that doesn't support the racist assumption that he just put forward. And yeah, no,
The
it has nothing
anti-Semitic
to do with
bullshit
that.
this man is
Yeah. It's
spewing
fine.
out of his
They
mouth.
control all the money, but it's benevolent. It's fine. But
It's benevolent.
no, I don't care about any of that. But no, more than anything, it's just interesting to me.
Sure.
Like, as far as this podcast and discussing things and trying to come to a middle ground, it's a blast to just talk to you guys about these things. But the reality of the situation is, like, we're not going to come to a solution here. And it's all about the exchange of ideas and
It's all about
Just
where
the
we started.
paths.
Where's the absolute truth?
just
at?
the paths that you can go down. Well, here's the absolute truth.
Jews suck.
Amen. No, but here's
If one's getting taken down, it's this one.
no. Here's the
We're
absolute truth:
joking.
is don't take from people.
Yeah.
It's that
Don't steal.
simply. And every single monotheistic religion that has come across humanity in the last several hundred years, whatever it is, like, they have all these specifics, but the precept of it at its origin is don't take from people. To me, there it is. I don't think you need to draw anything more
Which is what natural law
from
is,
that.
which is what
well,
we've been-
exactly. And I think that religious expression, specifically within Western culture, that's as far as it should be drawn out as objective. You know what I mean? It's like it's pretty obvious based on everybody's own personal experience when you take from someone unrighteously without giving them anything. It's a negative experience for those that you take from, whether it be their personal sovereignty, whether it be their property, whether it be their right to life, whether it be whatever it is. Like,
And the thing we don't know for sure because of cause and effect and the time that it takes for the repercussions of the person who actually stole something, it sometimes looks like they get away with it.
and that to me,
And so therein lies the faith you were talking about.
exactly, and that to me is like, and it is a belief. It's
Sure.
not something I could ever demonstrate objectively. It's not something I could lay down on this table and say, like, well, here's why I believe what I believe as an objective occurrence in reality. But it is like, that's where I think the split happens. Is like when you step into someone's life that you have no business getting involved in,
Mhm.
and you attempt to influence the objective trajectory of their life, whether it be your resistance to their exercising their own personal sovereignty, with the COVID-19 stuff, whether you beg for consequences against these people that refuse to wear a mask or refuse to socially distance themselves or whatever it is. It's like, that's what it comes down to. It's like, if you're a Christian, if you're Christ-like by your own admission, then you just live your life and you stay out of the way of people that disagree with you.
Not true.
I don't think that the people that are doing the opposite of what I'm talking about, I don't think that they're
Christ-like?
Christians. Yeah, no, I don't. I don't think they're
What
Christ-like.
about the people that try to convert them, the people that are living their life wrong, and they're stepping in the way of what they believe?
I think they're indoctrinated by churches, by institutions that...
So you don't think you should spread the word as a Christian?
The word of what?
Word of God.
But what do you mean
But
by
what does that mean?
Well, in context of what y'all are talking about, esoteric Christianity.
Right. And that's something I do think you should spread. Like, not
Absolutely.
necessarily
Okay, so-
spread. And we talked about this on the last podcast, and St. Clair made the point. He's like, no, you don't go yell it out to people. You live it. And if you live it, people see it.
He's correct in that.
And they
Yeah,
want to be like
exactly. Nobody's trying to convert someone, because nobody wants someone coming to them and be like, "Hey, you're doing it wrong. You need to do it this way." No, you fucking live your life.
Agreed.
You find the truth as best you can. You live it, and people notice it, and then
wanna
they might
be
come
like
talk
it.
to you. And if they
Yeah.
want to talk to you about it, or it comes up in conversation, you can have the conversation.
Oh, so let me.
But other than that,
let us
like,
put
you don't
it
just
out,
go
outside
yelling
of that.
out
So,
to people.
so
It's bullshit.
what about you working in the store and telling people?
I don't work there anymore.
Yeah, I'm going back about 2 weeks.
Might after
To
this
where
one.
you want to
Yeah, fuck, I forget. Shit, it's more important now for me to.
where you kind of give
just
them
proving our
the
point.
knowledge you have to try to maybe change their views. It's the same thing.
Sure, but
with
that's
or without
only when
Christianity involved.
like I'm just having a conversation and it goes there. I'm not going
Also-
to walk up to a stranger. And here's the thing:
Of course,
when I was in the church, I went and knocked on people's doors and said, "Hey,
And that's wrong.
do you
Of course,
know
it's
that-
invasion of privacy?
that you're
Right.
going to hell?
Yeah,
and,
you're going to hell. You
Here's
better
why,
listen to me.
and here's what you need to do to fix it." Like, I'm not doing that anymore with the things I believe now. Now
right,
I go about my
but do you
life.
not when you know the truth? Do you not want to spread it?
Of course.
Of course you do,
But you have
don't-
to
And is it
respect
not? Is it
people's
not? Hold on,
personal
but is it
boundaries.
not? No, not when you know. Say you know absolute truth. Fuck anyone else's boundaries. You want to spread this
Yeah,
knowledge,
but-
and they absolutely need to hear it. So for Christians, that's what they believe. They know the
Yeah,
absolute
exactly.
truth, right?
Of course.
And this is where the problem comes up: is that, and this is something that I wanted to bring up. How many fucking people have you talked to that found God, and they all have the same tone of voice and the same like condescending, and it may not be, and I don't know if either they
100%,
actually
they're not.
found the truth.
They didn't
but
find shit. They found something that
maybe
makes
they
them
did.
feel
You're going
good.
to hell, Daniel.
And they found something that makes them feel above
Right,
others,
right.
and therefore
And
they
they
get
wanna
to
spread it.
they get to
Correct.
act and say the things they
Well,
say in the way
I
that
don't
they
think
say
that
them.
anyone I've ever talked to wanted to brag about what they found.
Well, then you
For
don't understand humanity.
hold on, to make them feel better.
Then you don't understand humanity.
You're right. I don't understand humanity. I
Man,
think
look.
everybody I ever talked to that found God, they all talked in the same, condescending voice because they wanted to say, "You're going to hell," and
They
I'm not.
did.
Yeah. No,
They
you're
did.
right. I'm agreeing with you.
That's my view of it. Is that they did. They found a way.
Imagine. Back to what I was saying. Imagine you found the absolute truth. Say it is Christ, right? And you go along, and all you want to do is spread that information.
Right?
You would sound the same way. You would.
No.
You would feel preacher-like.
No, because I
Well, you've never found the absolute truth, so you can't say.
but
that
I
you
thought
would.
I did when I was in the church,
Right.
and I
wish you would
was
have.
the biggest asshole when it came to thinking that I had all the answers. I thought I had it
And
all
that-
figured out,
and
and so
I
when I
talked to-
talked to people who didn't think the way that I did, maybe in the moment and in the conversation that I was having, I was not being a complete asshole, but in the back of my mind, I was constantly just like,
I'm the better person here.
This person's stupid.
Yeah.
They're going.
Well, do you not feel that way when you know all of the stuff you do about elitists? Say you talk to some person that knows nothing, right?
No,
they
because
have
it's-
no clue what's going on in the world.
No, because I assume that everyone doesn't know. Like, it's fine. I don't judge
Right,
them
but
because
you try-
dude,
you kind of
2
preach
years
them.
ago I didn't know this shit.
Well, Daniel, you're lying because I've
see what
been
I'm
in the
saying? Like,
store with you. Hold on, I've been in the store with you where you've basically been a preacher, regardless if it was the word of the gospel or not, about the stuff that we know that other people don't. That is available knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying we're smarter than anybody that listens to this podcast or anybody in this room. That
I'll say it.
you
Caleb's here.
Hey guys.
Hey, babe.
that you kind of preached to them to the point where you sounded condescending as fuck, and you weren't that way on purpose. And that's my point I'm trying to make is when you talk to all of these people that found
if you're
God,
talking about
they
when
sound
people-
like the same fucking person.
Well, if you're talking about when people have debates, the person
We're not talking
the
about
people
debates.
that it is a debate.
I'm not.
Like,
I'm not
if
talking about
we're-
debate.
If I'm sitting down and I'm talking to someone and it runs into some of these things we're talking about now, like, yes, I'm going to talk in the same way that I'm trying to win the argument. Not
No.
necessarily win the argument, but I'm trying to get my point across. And me getting my point across may sound a certain way. Sure. May sound preachy.
So you're sound the same. You're
Sure.
basically now agreeing with me that.
But you could take that on any topic.
Well, here's
You
the
can
thing,
take-
too.
Well, that's my point. That I'm trying to say.
hold on,
That's what I'm trying to say is let's take this way beyond Christianity.
Hold on.
Is that Christians believe they found the absolute truth, right? Whatever it may be, and
It's easily disputable. The things that they believe they found as absolute truth are pretty easily disputable. Like I said,
Yeah, I'm not
go look at
arguing
the Old
with-
Testament text. Thank you. Where you go and
I was
you look at the verses that talk about how when a woman is on her period, you should drive her out of the physical
well,
settlement
that's what we all do.
that
is it
she
not?
lives in. Well, I mean, you know, we do it better than they did back then. It's more subtle.
away.
But this is my point. It's like that's pretty easily, objectively, a dumb thing. That's dumb.
When I go back and listen to this, I'm going to count how many times Austin has said objective tonight.
It's dumb.
70 billion.
It's an important word.
It is.
Objectively,
Objectively.
the idea that you drive women out of the physical settlement of society once a month is dumb.
Yeah, but maybe that's because you were raised on Judeo-Christian values and not Old Testament.
Regardless of all that, I hate women. I still don't think that's. I still don't think that's smart. I hate them. I hate them.
What led up to that? But I completely agree.
Well, because you're a smart man and you understand how useless their contributions are. But
It's a joke.
no, it's not. I mean that wholeheartedly. I'll
do-
stand on that. Fucking
I do see
do what
what
you have to
you're-
do
what
behind
you're
that. For
saying.
me,
I
stand
think-
on that. They're garbage and they don't have anything to contribute. Anyway,
Daniel. Anyway.
so objectively, you take that because that's a no. Seriously,
I'm with you.
that's a part of the scripture.
Yeah.
What?
Period.
The taking the women outside of
Literally, the period.
the settlement, or
you take
or
them
putting
outside
on the
of
corner. It would be-
society.
I think it also
once a
says it
month.
would be better to be on the corner of a roof than to be in a house with a.
It also says that
Yes, with a nagging wife.
if they won't
give them that.
walk outside of society for that week, then you stone them to death.
Yeah, I can get on board with that.
That's part of that. Me too. That you're helping me make my argument. This is my
See, you need a
point.
little bit of comedy in the podcast. This is great. Jews
That's
suck, women suck. What else
that's
sucks? Let's talk about
not
what
a
else
good
sucks.
way to run a society.
no, of course not. Right?
exactly.
Of course
And
not.
but that's my point. Is
It's funny.
doctrinally that's a
Doctrinal.
part of it.
Sure.
That's a part of it. If
Right,
if
and
you're
so-
gonna go like word for word, completely, like objectively, these words mean truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's a part of your belief system.
Absolutely, yeah.
It
And
is.
that's what
It
that's
just
what
is.
Jason and I were saying is that the churches we've been in, they believe that.
Absolutely.
They believe
I
that
was
every
there.
single
I
word
understand. I listen.
is the truth.
when
And
I
that's
went
the
to
problem.
church at that same place for years.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
That's
it's-
the way they viewed things.
That's the problem.
It's
that's why
wrong.
we can't that's why we can't do it.
It's wrong. Exactly. That. So when you take an institution that takes that as one of their like formal beliefs, why should you take them seriously?
You can't.
Exactly.
No one that thinks for themselves can take that seriously.
Exactly. Because they're
Now-
women that have things to contribute.
Back to what
There's
Ethan
probably
was
8 of
saying
them
about how I
entirely.
argue when it comes to what I believe now. Maybe it is similar to the way I argued what I used to believe. Maybe.
Very and almost exactly.
But these conversations come up organically now.
Bullshit.
They don't happen because I went and knocked on a stranger's door
Of
and tried to
course, of
shove my
course.
bullshit down their
But
throat.
why? Okay, so we've had this conversation. I'm pretty sure.
And I'm
on this
also not.
podcast.
I'm not attacking.
Hold on. We've
or
had
trying
this
to change them.
conversation.
I'm just presenting my side and my point of view.
We have had
That's
this
it.
conversation
Attack.
either outside of or on this podcast
Microaggressions.
about how you are obligated when you know the absolute truth to inform people, right? We've had that conversation whether it was on this podcast or not.
No, I think you're obligated to live the truth. And if someone is interested or wants to talk to you about it, then you can fucking have a
So
conversation.
say
That's
so.
it.
All right.
That's it.
So let's use this as an example. Say that the elitists that we believe are real know all of the truth. They
No
have all
question.
the esoteric knowledge.
No question.
They don't have the obligation to preach it, but they just have to live it. Is that how you look at it?
They don't.
I believe they have the
They don't.
obligation.
Here's the thing: they don't
They don't
preach
live it.
or
They
live
don't. They don't.
They
But
just
what
know
I'm saying
it.
is, Do you
And they
believe
keep
if
it hidden.
someone? Hold on. Just let me talk for 5 seconds, Laws. Just 5 seconds. Just 5 the entire podcast.
You've been
Excuse me?
talking ever since I came in.
Oh, you listen to this motherfucking podcast. Anyways, say Joe Bob down the street knows everything there is in truth in the world. You don't believe he's obligated to tell people, or you just think he needs to live his life according to what he knows?
We don't believe he would ever know all that.
You said it's pretty easy to know the absolute truth. You said it was not hard.
No, I said the understanding
Bullshit.
that taking anything from someone is objective negative morality.
Well,
That's-
that was a different conversation, but
That's
that
all
was
I was
just the
trying to
question.
say.
Yes or no, you believe he's obligated to do that?
Of course he is.
Okay.
He truly knows.
Back to my Israel friend. He says Kabbalah is what Jesus was
Kabbalah.
practicing. Kabbalah, whatever, however they
Kabbalah.
pronounce it. He pronounces Kabbalah.
Yeah, but he's a dumb Jew.
Amen. No, either way, so this
I hope
practice,
we have jobs on Monday.
this practice is like the walking on water, the turning water into wine, or however, all these magical practices.
How is it?
Right? It's what Kabbalah, or however you pronounce it.
Kabbalah.
Kabbalah.
Kubalala.
Jewish mysticism.
Hey,
Anyways,
doesn't fucking matter.
The mystics of Judaism. Those are the practices of Kabbalah.
Kubalala.
Is that right? No,
Kabbalah.
so
Kumbaya.
he says that these people, there's people that he knows that practice these arts, right? And it's kind of like the Jedi master Padawan thing, where you have to, a master of the arts has to teach you, and you learn it from them, and there are far and few between now in Israel. But he says he's seen practices like this, and I say, so why don't you guys just show the world that the religion that you practice is absolutely the truth, right? I feel like that would get a lot of people going your way.
Sure.
That would get your votes. And he's like, because it's too dangerous to society. I'm like, well, that just sounds like bullshit. It sounds like you've never actually seen any of those practices.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you could prove that someone else other than Christ could walk on water, and you could disprove the guy that you believe is a false Messiah, then you would do it immediately. And in the public, especially with the way that social media and viral video is spread. And
Well, haven't you seen those guys run really fast and they like walk on water for a few
3 seconds and then sink.
That counts, right?
Yeah, no, that's what he's talking about. He sent me a couple of those videos. No,
Those are just
but I was talking
hardcore
about
Jews.
he believes that they're not obligated, and they're actually like they are against the obligation. That they're like we don't need to spread that information because it's dangerous and it's a hindrance to society. But
Well, that's what any ruling class would say,
exactly
because they don't want the masses to be enlightened about anything.
the same with say our government knows about aliens. They are like, oh, it's better that they don't know.
They
about
said they did this year.
it. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It's disputable.
Did you guys see the
And they didn't release
monolith that
any-
was found in Utah?
Yeah, but that's bullshit. It's been
Utah?
there since 2013.
It's an art installation.
Yeah, obviously, but like the
2013.
the actual like Department of Public Safety or whatever, like they were like it's illegal to install
Right.
art,
It is.
even if you're from another planet.
It is.
And it's like, they threw that line in there, like saying, like, it's possible.
Yeah,
that
of course.
It could have been aliens. But,
course.
Like, and we're going to get them because it's illegal. They broke our laws.
Some Americans set that shit up.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, it was very shoddily made. That's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
really a word, but
Yeah,
I'm going to
shoddily.
use it.
Shittily?
Well, I was going to say shoddy.
You
but,
nailed
like,
it.
Like
No,
shoddy,
you-
like
you nailed it.
S-H-A-W-Y-T?
You said the right word.
Shoddy.
Lee,
Yeah,
ignore
fuck
these
you,
people.
Ethan.
You said the right word.
Yeah, my bad. I
was very
I live in
shoddily
Memphis,
made.
so I thought about shoddy.
And it, yeah, it was like
Cancel.
bullshit. But
You,
Well,
you
they
took
gonna
this
not
long.
let you sports bet?
What'd
You'll
you
be
say?
fine. They're not gonna let you sports bet. Is that what's gonna happen?
DraftKings.
me and Daniel got really
Use my
got
promo code.
consequences.
Yeah, I'm in the real world now.
No,
my boss is a
but
Palestinian,
what I was
so I'm
coming
pretty
back
free
from,
to say whatever I want.
Yeah, Caleb gets a raise.
Yeah.
Played your cards right.
he came in here at the last second to get his words in. They paid him $100 to hurry up and get on this podcast. Go ahead and say.
He let me close down.
Who did you beat with?
That's funny. But no, I think it branched from. It's just weird to me. I think what I was initially saying, it's just like every guy that I meet that found God, it's either they all meet in a class that's like, all right, this is how you speak to humans now.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to
like
talk
this
really
now.
slow, and you have to say,
We're gonna be
found
super
God
condescending.
listen to me. You can be saved. Every fucking person ever that has found God, and half of it makes me think, oh shit, maybe they found something that's true.
But do you think that I talk that way to people when I just have conversations? I don't get in a quiet voice.
Daniel, hold on. Shh.
You-
Yes.
No.
You
Really?
do, yeah.
Okay, well then that's okay.
Austin's
that's something
the
I need
same
to
way.
work on then.
Oh, it's Caleb.
Explain.
That probably, if that is the
Explain.
case, and what you're
I don't
saying is
have
actually
this conversation
true,
with people, so explain.
and
what
you're
talking
not
about.
just fucking with me, it has to come from the fact that I grew up in the church.
No, I
have talking the other
disbelieve
way.
that. When you believe truly, wholeheartedly, that what you know is the truth.
You're an asshole.
Yes, kind of, because, well, imagine, I do agree with that, because, all right, so say for Democrats and Republicans, for instance, they can't get along because they live in this bubble of right and wrong, and they're absolutely so different, right? But they live in this bubble where they're right,
Sure.
and the
Agreed.
Democrats' right is the exact same, vice versa. So when they talk to people, they are condescending as fuck, and they think, oh, this guy's an idiot, so let me break it down as if they're a child. It's anybody that knows
Well,
that
fuck,
or believes they know exactly what's right. They talk to people in a condescending way.
I don't know,
That's
man.
not universal.
Who does that though? I don't do that.
Apparently, I do.
Austin Scott
I'm the
does
asshole in the room.
I
it.
don't.
Daniel Scott does it.
Provide me an example.
Caleb Scott does it.
Man,
Provide us an example.
You're just bullshitting.
I think
I'm
you're
not.
bullshit.
I promise I'm not. I believe
So provide us an example of how we do that.
In like 6 months. So how do you know what I do on a day-to-day basis?
I've known him for 21 years.
And I've only had these beliefs for
So
like
explain.
Well, we're not even
Couple
we're not even talking about Christianity or anything like that. Say for instance, I knew for an entire fact that there was an alien race out there called Scots,
Say
whatever.
the N-word. Say the N-word. I know you want to.
There's an alien race out there, right?
don't,
Say it.
don't do that.
Say,
I would
and
talk
also
to you-
Anunnaki are real.
Yeah, Anunnaki, right? Say I knew that for an entire fact, though, I wouldn't talk to you like you would believe that I was insane, right? And I would talk to you as if, all right, you're a little child, and you need to listen.
No, man.
No, why would you do that? I wouldn't do that to someone.
I'm just saying,
And you're
I just
you're,
go,
you're saying
"Oh,
that I
shit,
do
check
that.
this
Now I'm
out."
real self-conscious about how I talk to people now.
you do that.
Don't be.
Yeah, he's full of shit.
Because
I'm
he's got
fucking
an
with all of you.
inaccurate understanding.
I'm
of how that
fucking
goes.
with all of you, but what I'm trying to say is people that believe in an absolute
Some
truth
people
do
yes.
talk condescending
But see,
to others.
I think that
Yeah, but
Well, the point I
None
was
of
trying to
these
make.
people
hold
do
on.
that.
The point I was trying to make is that is why they're kind of discredited, and people like
who is
look
they? Who is they?
Christians,
I'm legitimately
right?
curious.
That kind of look away from Christianity because they feel that they're talked down on.
Right.
And like I every time, and I brought this up originally because anytime that I talk to a Christian that found God and is saved, quote unquote,
Right.
they talk down on me like, all right. They talk to me like a little puppy.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is something that's discouraging of the church alone. Maybe
Right.
that's probably not where I started. I'm a little intoxicated. But that is what I was getting to, is that it happens all the time, right?
Sure.
That was basically it. I don't really
I mean,
know
I
where I
see
was
that.
going with that, other
you
than
just
that.
tried to troll
I
us
see
a
that.
bunch.
Yeah, I was just trolling you guys. I mean, Daniel is that way, but...
Well, sure.
He's
yeah,
not.
We all know that.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with
I'll
that.
work on it for you, buddy.
Don't. Because I don't agree
No,
with
I mean,
that.
look. I mean, at this point in my life, I'm 100% sure that I'm an idiot and that I don't know anything.
Yeah.
That's the
And
most important.
The few things that I
acknowledgement
might
you can make.
think that I am on the right track on, like if someone can convince me the other way, I'll change.
Well,
I am no longer
hold on. You can physically track what you're talking about.
sure. And that's a big difference between what I used to believe, and
Well, this is the thing. Take the things you understand to be fundamental truths today. How much of that have you expelled onto people outside of that circle, where it's like an uncomfortable situation for them to have that conversation with you?
zero.
Correct?
Yeah.
There you
No,
go.
Many.
Then you're fine.
No, because the conversation always arises organically. and they can leave at any moment.
But I don't feel that way.
I'm not at their door.
I don't feel that way. So
They came into my place.
Correct.
And
But
had a
it-
conversation with me
Correct.
in my home where
I
they can
was-
leave whenever the fuck
I was
they want to
fucking
leave.
with you about
Since-
your store,
And
right?
since I've been working up in Covington, like, freaking most of the customers that come in are like, "Oh, where's old Shaggy?" Or they have some nickname for you, and they're like, "Yeah, I used to come up here and just have great conversations with him
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
about all kinds of good stuff."
Yeah. Exactly.
And
Like
Let's-
that was like
let's
90%
bring this
of the
rap-
customers
let's bring
Fundamentally,
this-
they understand
you know,
that
full
what's being
circle.
discussed is a
let's bring this
is
full
an
circle.
objective truth.
That never came up unless Daniel brought it up. Let's all agree on that.
Sure, I might bring it up if you like.
And that's
what,
good. I'm saying that you should.
What
and
does it
you're
matter
saying
that I bring it up? It's that that's where it's going to go if you start talking about politics or you start talking about anything deeper than I want that bottle of juice or can you bag me up 4 ounces of kratom.
Yeah.
If it goes past those two things, then it will lead to something that's deeper.
And I'm saying you're obligated.
And
you should be
can
obligated.
leave. You can fucking leave.
You should
'cause
be
I-
obligated.
Well, I
to
don't-
tell
I don't
truth.
think that we're
Or- and
obligated.
spread what
I
you
think
know.
that it's good if you do it, but I don't think there's anything saying that we're obligated to. I mean, if you don't feel like talking to somebody,
Of
about
course not,
something,
but I
then you
think
don't
you're
have
wrong.
to,
If
but
if you know things
you-
that others don't and you can spread truth, I believe that you should, and that is your obligation to.
what I've been trying to say is, like, I can only speak for myself, but I think that most of us are like this. I don't know of any absolute truths. I know they're out there, but I don't.
Agreed.
I don't have the answers to
You do.
anything. Like, there are things that I lean towards and that I
Agreed with
believe
you.
in and that I tell people I think this is real.
I think you came
But
the whole time.
But I really don't know shit.
All right, but
Neither does
Sure.
anyone else.
All right, but here's the thing with that is like you understand your own pain response.
Sure.
Like as far as like the things that cause you physical discomfort, you understand that.
Yes.
That's it. Right there is like what can you do to people that legitimately and justifiably triggers that response. I mean, that's Jungian psychology. That goes back 100 years at this point. It's like we all have this understanding, quit filming me, of these actions that cause other human beings pain.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to, is your responsibility to mitigate that. It's like, don't cause other human beings physical discomfort.
Yeah.
Period. You understand that, and so you understand what we were just talking about.
I disagree with the whole
You don't.
discomfort.
If you
thing.
live your life in a way where you get to be satisfied with the outcome, and it doesn't cost anybody any discomfort, physical, mental, whatever it is, then you can mark it down in your own book that you did the right thing. Because what the fuck? What was the negative
There
aspect?
was no negative. There
if it
was no
didn't cause
victim.
it?
Everything was fine.
Exactly.
No. Some people
That's
should
what
be victims.
Jesus
Exactly.
fucking
Some
taught.
people absolutely should
That's
be victims.
Christ consciousness right there.
Right there.
It's, do not cause the people around you physical or mental disharm. Period.
Discomfort is a
That's
different
it.
thing, and you should not have used that word. Because some people need to be uncomfortable.
Well, people will be
because some
uncomfortable
people are
because-
absolutely wrong,
It's
and
not-
it is your right to make them.
Nah, I mean
It's
uncomfortable in what? Like
In-
their
in the sense
thought
of-
patterns? 'Cause
Yes,
that's,
absolutely.
That's different than
Absolutely,
like doing
absolutely.
something physically to them
No,
to
of
make
course,
them
of course.
uncomfortable.
Not you don't grope someone because that's
Yeah, that's
discomfort
what
at a
he's
different
talking
level.
about.
No,
We're
it's
not
not. He
talking
said,
about-
"Don't make
we're not-
someone
speak
feel
for
uncomfortable."
yourself.
No, he
we
not-
were absolutely.
That's obviously not
I
what
like
he
that
meant.
joke.
If you're,
I do. No,
you
he
can-
was.
you
He
can-
was absolutely
no,
talking
dude.
about that. Or were you
No,
not?
that's not what he meant.
No.
To make
So
them
say-
think
so-
and then they're uncomfortable because they had to
Hold on.
think a little
Let me
bit.
ask
That's
a
not what
question.
he meant.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
So
No, nobody
and
cares
that's why
about that.
I thought you meant that way because I was gonna. You literally earlier were saying otherwise. If
How?
so, what I'm saying is this is my question to you. If I was completely wrong and you made me feel super uncomfortable in a conversation because you were teaching me what was right, is that against natural law?
No,
No,
I'm not. I'm
especially if
asking
you-
him.
Hold on. No.
I'm asking him.
No.
That's fair. He
It
was.
isn't.
Yeah, I was.
But if your divulgence from that is not costing anybody anything on a
You're causing me discomfort.
hold on. If that's not causing anybody a negative experience on their personal sovereignty level,
Say I'm having one.
then yeah, you need to fucking sack the fuck up.
Well, what
and
I'm saying though is
yeah.
that's against natural law.
No, it's not.
right? I'm having a terrible time. I'm super uncomfortable because what you're doing is going against what I believe in. Even though I may be wrong, I believe this my entire life, and you're preaching to me.
Yeah, I don't care about
something
that.
true.
I'm not.
Right. I agree.
Right.
I agree with you.
Agreed.
I don't care either.
Let me
I think
chime in.
none of us in this fucking
I'm not.
room do.
This is the thing.
I'm saying, is that against natural law? This
with-
is my actual question.
okay.
Let me chime
With
in.
people,
Let Caleb chime in.
hold on.
No, let Caleb chime in.
Hold on.
No.
Hold on.
No one's listening to Austin.
With people
Go,
like
Caleb.
that, with people like what you're talking about, it's fine. If you choose, if you choose to disagree with me after I've succinctly laid out my point,
But I was I was uncomfortable the entire time.
I don't care.
And
Okay,
you went
so-
against my
Yeah, I
advice.
don't care
what
about
I'm gonna
that.
say is that the reason it's not breaking natural law is because if you're having a conversation with another human being and you become uncomfortable,
You can leave.
you can turn around and walk away.
Amen.
If he grabs you
And holds
physically
you there.
restrains you, that's the moment he breaks natural law.
Amen.
100%.
But if the information you're hearing is making you uncomfortable and you can turn around and walk away from it and he doesn't do anything to stop you, then he hasn't done anything wrong.
You can choose to be ignorant if you want to.
Absolutely.
So making someone uncomfortable isn't breaking natural law.
No.
Not,
Not
when it
if
comes to
you're
a conversation
facing-
and you're not physically
Hold on.
restraining them.
Not if you're facing them with the objective truth.
Hold on.
That the things that I'm saying to you are entirely within your own personal sovereignty to accept or decline. Because that's the way that I frame this argument every time I have it with somebody is, it does not make a difference to me what you believe. This is what I think, based on my own personal human experiences.
He's not gonna
And
force
you
them.
have the opportunity to accept or decline that conclusion. That's fine with me.
I'm uncomfortable.
Whichever decision that you make,
Then leave.
You can leave.
I'm
That's
attached
the
to the
fucking
mic.
don't
answer.
leave. This is the thing.
I'm just fucking with you.
I know you are, but even if that was your that was your stance, I'm fine with you being uncomfortable. That's not a problem to me.
You're comfortable with making me uncomfortable. You're breaking natural law.
No, because
No.
None of
not
you
true.
understand it.
It's
You're all
not
going to
true,
hell.
because I love you, and I would never put the impetus on you to choose one way or the other to make me
should.
feel good.
You should.
Is impetus a word? Is that? Are we even sure that's a real word?
IMPO2.
Oh,
IMPOT.
Hell, IMPOT. There's a number in there.
IMPOTUS.
It's a new
Well,
special
look it
word
up.
with numbers.
Impetus
IMPOTUS.
is a
Look
word.
it up.
I know. I was
Um,
making fun of you earlier.
Me?
Yeah.
I'll fuck you up.
I don't mind.
No.
If
so,
you disagree with me, that's fine.
well, this is
As long
back
as you
to-
don't impede on
this is
me,
back to where we came from.
do whatever you want.
I believe that you should.
long one.
Of course, it's a fucking
That's
long
what she
one.
said.
No, you said you don't. Fuck, I've already forgotten
I
what
fucked
you
you
said.
up. I apologize.
No, that just this fucking Ned Williams.
Because
kinda
you're
fucked me up.
wrong on almost everything you bring to the table.
Dirty bitch. I've said
That's
nothing.
that condescension shit.
That's that fucking preach to
That's
everyone
that's
other
that
than
preachy
himself.
shit I do all the time, isn't it?
What if I said that was wrong tonight? I've asked questions.
Fucking with you.
Yeah, no, I'll fuck you up. No, what you said you. I forgot, but I'll bring it up after I listen to this.
Well,
motherfucker.
this is the point I was trying to get at, whether it was clear or not. Is
It was clear.
I have no problem whatsoever with you feeling and believing and behaving any way you want to,
Agreed.
whatsoever, as long as you afford me the same courtesy. For instance, and this is not specific to you because I know you disagree with the things I'm about to bring up, but the lockdowns, the business closings.
Agree on.
The I already said I know that you agree with this, but this is my
No,
point.
no. You said I disagree on them.
No,
and
I
do.
didn't. I said I know that you agree. And if I
Disagree.
did, then I'm just-
Disagree.
all right. Well, then
I
I'm just
disagree on
drunk.
the lockdowns.
Well, then I'm just drunk.
No, I disagree on the lockdowns.
This is my point: is you could come to disagree with the aversion to the lockdowns, which I agree with. I think the lockdowns are bullshit.
I don't.
You could come to disagree with the fact that it's a detriment to financial society to do the things that have been
Society
going
in general.
I know you don't hold these positions. The point I'm trying to make is
I hold all your positions.
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
That's what he's saying.
You hold my
I'm
positions.
just fucking with him because
Let him get through it.
I am. I'm drunk. But The point I'm trying to make is
It's entertainment, okay?
it is. It's very entertaining too because I'm pretty fucked up. But the point I'm trying to make is, even if you and I disagreed fundamentally on every single aspect of this COVID stuff, as long as you didn't call your local representatives or state government or whatever it is and try to have me persecuted for my beliefs on the thing,
He don't give a fuck.
I don't have a problem with you believing that I'm retarded for not wearing a mask.
Don't say
or
that.
that I'm retarded for
Don't say
not
that.
social distancing or whatever it is. I know that's not your state. Let me state on the record, for
Don't say retarded.
the record,
Yeah, we don't
That
use the
I-
hard R word.
I don't agree with using
any
slurs
form.
against retarded people that are
Stop
hilarious.
using that word.
And, well, they're funny and they're retarded. It's fine. It's whatever. But I'm doubling down hard. But
We're double down earlier.
Maybe this is just one for us.
Nah, there's nothing
no,
wrong with
you,
saying
you,
retard.
you gotta drop it. No,
I agree with you completely. I agree with you
but that's
completely.
what I'm saying is that, like, even
If you're not impeding on me and I'm not
even-
impeding on you, let's
exactly.
fucking live.
exactly,
and don't fuck with me, I
Even
won't
if
fuck
you
with
and
you.
I looked at things
That's freedom.
completely
That is freedom.
differently,
I'm all on board with you.
we could still get together when I come to town and
Everything
enjoy
you
each
guys have
other's
said,
company.
basically, I've been on board with.
Yeah,
I
no,
I want
we
to ask
know
some
that.
hard questions.
That's fine, man.
I don't even
Come
know if
on.
I asked a question that was kind of hard.
Ask.
I don't know. Should we wrap this up?
No.
I mean, we don't have to stop talking, but should we wrap the?
We can wrap it up.
No. Why wouldn't we?
Jason's losing
same
hair
difference.
right now.
As we speak.
He has no hair on the top of his head. Earlier, he had at least 4 hairs. He had at least 4 hairs. They're all
It was
gone.
full. It was a full head when we started.
He is absent of hair right now.
Long as shit.
I'm scared that if we stop this, the conversation's
No, it's
stops.
not
I
gonna
think
be.
this is a good.
Ah, no, we're good.
I think we're on a good path right now.
I mean,
Caleb, you got anything to say before we?
Caleb, yeah, bring
What's up, guys?
us home, Caleb. Wrap
Love
it up.
you.
See guys.
Wrap it up,
Anything
Caleb.
you have to say?
Love you, my
that
boy.
You've been wanting to get off
Wrap it up, Caleb.
Masonic wise.
No, I had that monolith thing. That's the only thing I saw. In
He said it. He's done.
Yeah,
And you're like,
2013.
2013.
Yeah.
2013.
2013.
I wasn't claiming it was anything. I was just.
Yeah, no,
bringing
it was actually interesting. I was just
Oh,
being
actually,
funny.
here is something I just thought of. Remember a long time ago when I told you I saw a plane in the air that was not moving?
Yes.
It was not a Harrier?
Yes.
And you were like, people have been...
Yes,
there's
they've been
reports
seeing
of
that.
those. I saw one again the other day on the same stretch of road on Singleton. And
Is it the same plane?
it was...
It's still there.
it's been there the whole time.
But it's the same type of plane. It's
Bitch been there
a
for
really
years.
Big military, like, cargo planes.
Yeah, yeah,
And it was just not
Chilling.
moving.
yeah.
Like, right there.
On like the bypass.
Like, it was like...
Singleton
we were going
Parkway,
down
where it
Singleton,
connects to
and
14.
It was like...
You just
off,
gave our location away.
off over the...
Man,
yeah, because that's where we live.
it's been
guys.
given away a long time ago.
Yeah, what do you mean?
But... Yeah, it was... And then, like, I saw...
Did you stop and sit there and look at it, or were you
No,
moving? Because
I
that
wa-
makes it real hard, man.
Oh,
You're
fucking
moving.
shit.
I was moving,
I'm
but
gonna
it
back
was-
you up in here in a second.
I've seen planes flying in the opposite direction that I'm moving in. And I've looked at them and gone, oh, damn, that looks like that plane isn't moving. And then I, like, will actually watch it and go, oh, okay, no, I can tell that it's moving. I wasn't driving, and
So you just
I
kept your
my
eyes on it?
and this motherfucker was floating in the midair.
Yeah, of course.
A giant fucking who knows how many ton airplane that was not no Harrier jet, just floating there. And then a little bit later, I saw it in the opposite direction from where it was facing. Like, once we got down and onto 385, it was like coming down, flying, going towards Millington.
Like the opposite
And
direction in which it was flying.
facing like the other way, going towards like Memphis, basically.
Out east.
When
You
it
saw
was
it
just
first.
sitting still.
All right.
Interesting.
It was fucking weird.
So I live in Memphis. There's an airport there. Same shit happens
Oh, yeah?
to me all the time. Yeah, if you didn't know. Same shit happens to me all the time. Planes that look like they're not flying. Dude, I've never pulled over other than once, right? So back to manifestation earlier and all this shit. You can supposedly meditate to a point where you can basically bring an alien to your exact location. This is
You're
Greer.
all about that Greer boy,
This is
ain't
Greer,
you?
right?
Yeah.
So, fuck you, Daniel.
Listen, I don't know. I
Either
know
way,
nothing.
I'm listening to a Greer podcast. This is just the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Caleb's not listening because he's a cunt.
I'm listening. I can do two things at once.
So
If it was me texting you,
I
you
have
could say that.
I have shades on. I'm driving towards my work. Right beside the sun is it's shiny as fuck. It looks like what they would say was like a weather balloon. It's like just glistening sun.
Mhm.
Just like a aluminum looking. It's just lighting up, right? And I see it, and I take my shades off. This is what's weird is I'm listening to a Greer podcast. I take it off, my shades off. I can't see it, right? So I put them back on. I can see it again. They're polarized, so I'm assuming it was just because of like polarized
Sun.
lenses. You can like see through the sun, kind of, not through the sun, but you can like.
I get it.
You get it. I see it, and I pull over right in front of my work, and I'm looking at it, and I'm just staring at it. It doesn't move for like maybe 5-6 minutes. I'm like right in front of my work, and somebody comes outside and tells me, "What the fuck are you doing? Get inside!" I'm like 6 minutes late for work because I'm staring at this motherfucking thing in the sky. It's just right beside the sun. It's just sitting there. It's not moving. And I've seen shit like that repetitively for the last maybe 2-3 months. That has nothing to do with anything. I'm not saying it's connected to anything, but it's just weird shit, kind of like the instance of these hologram looking planes that are sitting there. Maybe that's nothing. It's just, shit that we don't understand mathematically. But it was interesting.
Yeah.
I had something else to say.
So what's the thought about the government coming out and admitting that they have extraterrestrial
it's fucking
vehicles
crazy.
and-
I think it's just setting up Project Bluebeam.
100%.
Agreed.
The world's not ending,
Guys,
though.
we've been going too long. We're gonna end this, and we can keep talking. If you,
Cut it.
all right.
We love you guys.
Much love.
Thanks for listening to us. We appreciate it.
We love Jews.
We
Thank you guys for listening
Yep.
to Austin.